Hey everyone, the holidays are here, and you know what that means, right? Tons of stuff to do, shopping lists a mile long, and parties galore.
It is a busy time of year for sure.
But that doesn't mean we can't find time for some fun, creative projects, especially when they involve transforming those empty glass bottles we all have lying around after all those holiday gatherings,
Ah, yes. Upcycling at its finest.
turning trash into treasure. And that's what we're diving into today on Crafting Made Simple. We're talking about turning glass bottles into cool Christmas decorations and some really unique gifts.
I have to admit, when I first heard about this, I thought, okay, how exciting can a bottle be? But then I started looking into it,
Right, me too.
and I was blown away by all the possibilities. Plus, there's a whole history behind decorating with bottles.
Wait, really? Tell me more.
Well, it goes back centuries, actually. In lots of ancient cultures, bottles were considered valuable.
Hmm.
They weren't just some throwaway container. They were like symbols of good luck and prosperity. People would decorate them with all sorts of fancy designs and pass them down through their families.
Wow, I never knew that.
So when we're upcycling bottles today, we're kind of carrying on that tradition in a way.
That's really cool. Adds a whole new layer of meaning to these projects.
It really does. And the creativity is just amazing. We've got a blog post and a YouTube video for this deep dive. And honestly, the ideas they have, from super whimsical to really elegant, you won't believe it.
Yeah, that blog post, it's got these bottle trees, like an actual Christmas tree made out of colorful glass bottles. I mean,
Yeah.
how unique is that?
Super unique.
Mhm.
And think about it, a fun project for the whole family. Everyone can get involved in painting the bottles,
Yeah,
figuring out how to arrange them. It would be such a cool holiday activity.
absolutely. And speaking of family fun, the blog also has these adorable little bottle snowmen, Santas, and even Grinches.
Yeah, I saw those.
Yeah.
Super cute.
And perfect for those last-minute crafts with the kids, because it's all about using simple stuff like buttons and ribbons and paint. So budget-friendly, too.
Totally. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's the more elegant ones. I loved the snow bottle craft and the frosted bottles. The idea of using Epsom salts to make it look frosty is so clever.
Oh, yes, those were gorgeous.
Yeah,
Such a simple technique, but it creates such a wow effect.
right.
And it reminds me of that YouTube video we have with the personalized wine bottles. The creator used lights inside to make these magical glowing
Oh,
bottles.
yeah, I love those. They would look amazing all year round, too. Not just for the holidays. You could change the lights, maybe add some different embellishments.
No, that's a great tip. You could have like sparkling bottles for New Year's Eve or flowers for spring or even make them spooky for Halloween.
Exactly. The possibilities are endless. And those personalized wine bottles, what a fantastic gift idea, right?
Seriously, it's like you're giving a bottle of wine, but it's so much more personal. It's a keepsake.
And it's a great way to use up all those empty wine bottles, the ones we might collect during all those holiday
Yeah,
parties.
definitely.
Yeah.
Always a good idea to upcycle and be a little eco-friendly, especially this time of year when there's so much waste.
You got it. So, are we ready to get into the nitty-gritty of how to make these personalized wine bottles? I am eager to hear some tips from the video.
Absolutely. What are some of the key things she highlights?
Well, first off, she's all about using acrylic paint. Says it really sticks to the glass and the colors stay vibrant. And get this, she uses these Sizzix adhesive sheets.
Sizzix adhesive sheets. What are those?
You know how you can get those die-cut decorations? Well, these are sheets of sticky paper you run through the die-cutting machine, so you get these perfect shapes without any messy glue.
Oh, that's smart. I could see how that would be a lifesaver, especially if you're trying to get a gift done last minute.
Definitely. And she had another great time-saving tip. She said to try matching the decorations to the colors on the wine label.
Makes sense.
It makes it look really polished. And if you don't have a die-cutting machine, she shows how to use a Sharpie to add those little details, like strings on the ornaments or bows on little trees.
Even if you're not super crafty, you can still make something awesome.
Exactly. Oh, and one more important thing. Sealing the whole project with Mod Podge or some kind of glaze. That way the paint and the decorations will last for a long time.
Yeah, definitely makes sense, especially if it's a gift. You want it to look good for years to come.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is she mentioned using this technique for other occasions too, not just Christmas.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, she gave the example of weddings, but I bet you could adapt it for anything. Birthdays, anniversaries, you name it.
You're right. It's amazing how versatile a simple glass bottle can be. Who would thought? You don't need fancy supplies or expensive tools, just a little creativity, and you can make something truly unique.
Exactly. And that's what Crafting Made Simple is all about. Finding the potential in everyday objects. So, what do you say? Are you ready to dive into those bottle trees now?
Let's do it. I'm curious to hear your take on how to make one of those unique centerpieces.
All right, well, the first thing to consider is, as we were talking about all of these different bottle projects, it really got me thinking about how much people love to create,
Yeah,
even when they don't have a ton of fancy materials.
it's so true. It's like one person sees a bottle and thinks trash, but then a crafter sees it and it's like, ooh, possibilities.
Right. It's like a blank canvas just waiting to be transformed. And I was thinking, throughout history, people have always used whatever they could find to make something beautiful, like clay or wood or fabric,
Right.
or even just, a simple glass bottle. It's like that urge to create is just part of being human.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And there's something so satisfying about taking something that would just been thrown away and turning it into something you can actually use. And that looks great too.
Definitely. It's like giving it a second life. And it's a great way to be creative and environmentally friendly at the same time. Speaking of which, those bottle trees we were talking about earlier, talk about sustainable crafting.
Right. You're basically using stuff you already have on hand.
Exactly. And they're so unique and eye-catching. I remember those pictures from the blog post. There were so many different styles.
Right.
Some were like those classic Christmas trees with green bottles and ornaments, and then others were so modern and abstract with all these crazy colors and weird embellishment.
Yeah, others too.
It's like whatever your style is, you can totally make a bottle tree that reflects that.
Exactly. And if you're not sure where to start, there's tons of inspiration online. I
Yeah.
mean, that blog post, we here even had a step-by-step guide.
Oh, for sure. There's so much information out there to help you out. And if you find a design you like, but want to switch it up a bit, go for it.
Yeah, make it your own. Now, those frosted bottles, I'm still kind of blown away by how easy they are to make. Can you walk us through that one again? I want to make sure I have all the materials right.
Okay, sure. So basically, you just need a clean glass bottle, some Epsom salt, and any kind of glue will do. I know a lot of people like to use Mod Podge for this,
Right, Mod Podge.
but you can also just use regular white glue if that's what you have.
So you just put the glue on the bottle and then sprinkle the Epsom salt over it.
Exactly. You can frost the whole thing or just do parts of it, whatever look you're going for. The only thing to remember is to let the glue dry completely before you brush off any extra Epsom salt.
Okay, sounds easy enough. And they look so pretty, all delicate and snowy, especially when you add those little lights inside.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Speaking of lights, I think we need to talk about those glowing bottles some more.
Yes, those were so cool. They'd create such a cozy atmosphere, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. And they're not that hard to make either. The most important thing is to use the right kind of lights. So like battery-powered fairy lights or LED string lights,
Gotcha.
because they don't get too hot, which is important when you're putting them inside glass.
Good point. So once you have the lights, you just stick them in the bottle, but how do you make sure they don't fall out?
You can use a cork with a hole in it, or you could even use a little hot glue to hold them in place. Just make sure to use a low-temperature hot glue gun so you don't crack the glass.
That makes sense. And then you can go crazy with the embellishments, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ribbons, lace, beads, buttons, you name it. You could even use pictures or little trinkets that mean something special to you.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
It's like you're making a little world inside the
Yeah.
bottle. You could even like match the decorations to the person you're giving it to or the occasion.
I love that. Those would make such amazing gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So personal and thoughtful.
Definitely. Speaking of thoughtful gifts, let's circle back to those personalized wine bottles for a minute.
Yes. Perfect for those of us who maybe aren't the best at freehand painting. You can still get creative with it.
Exactly. And that's what's so great about this project. You can use stencils or stamps or even stickers if you want to.
Hmm.
And you can personalize it with someone's name or a special message or maybe like a date that means something to them.
Yeah. And I remember that tip you mentioned earlier about matching the colors of the
Yeah.
decorations to the label. It's such a
Yes.
simple thing, but it makes it look so much nicer.
Totally. It's all about the details. Speaking of which, I was watching that YouTube video again, and I noticed how the creator took the time to add those tiny little strings to the ornaments with a Sharpie. It's such a small thing, but it makes such a difference.
It really does. It's like those little details show that you really put some extra effort into it.
Yeah. So we've covered a lot of ground here with all these different bottle crafts. What do you think are some of the main things people should keep in mind if they want to try this at home?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's important to remember to have fun with it. Don't get too stressed out about making it perfect or worry that you're not crafty enough. Just
Absolutely.
relax and enjoy the process.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, try different things, and get creative. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. Just have fun with it.
So true. It's all about expressing your own creativity and making something with your own two hands.
Wow.
And it's a great way to be more environmentally friendly, too.
Yes, it's like a win-win all around.
You get to be creative, you're helping the planet, and you end up with some awesome decorations or gifts.
Absolutely.
Well, that wraps up part 2 of our bottle craft extravaganza. Welcome back, everyone. We've been having a blast exploring all these amazing bottle crafts, and I'm so excited to keep going. We've seen how you can transform a simple bottle into all sorts of things, like those repurposed bottle trees, the elegant frosted bottles, and of course those personalized wine bottles that make such unique gifts.
I know, right? It's really amazing what you can do with a little imagination, some basic supplies. And it's not just about the finished product either.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, I think these bottle crafts have the potential to be more than just decorations or gifts. They can
Mhm.
be a way to connect with people, to start conversations and share stories.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Rather-
Like imagine having people over for the holidays and they see your bottle tree or those glowing bottles you've made.
Right.
It's like an instant conversation starter, and you can talk about upcycling and sustainability and the joy of making things yourself.
Exactly. And think about those personalized wine bottles. It's not just a bottle of wine anymore.
Yeah,
It's like a symbol of your thoughtfulness and your creativity. It's a gift that really comes from the heart.
that's so true. You know, it just occurred to me, making these bottles could be a really fun holiday activity to do with family and friends.
Oh, totally. It could become like a new tradition. Everyone can make their own decorations, and then you could all put them up together.
I love that idea. And each bottle would be like a little memory of that time you spent together.
Absolutely. And the best part is you can adapt these bottle crafts to fit any style or occasion.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if you're into that farmhouse look, or you prefer a more modern vibe, or you want something whimsical and fun, there's a bottle craft out there for everyone.
That's what I love about crafting in general. There are no rules. You can just let your imagination run wild and create something truly unique.
Yeah.
And it's okay to experiment with different techniques and materials too. You might even discover a new favorite way of doing things.
Definitely. And remember, there are no mistakes in crafting, only opportunities to learn and try new things.
So true. It's all about the process, the journey of creating something with your own two hands. And even if it doesn't turn out exactly the way you pictured it, you still created something one of a kind.
I love that way of looking at it. It's not about being perfect, it's about having fun and expressing yourself.
And I think there's something really beautiful about the whole idea of transforming something that was considered trash into something beautiful and useful. It's like a metaphor for renewal and second chances.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. That's really profound, especially during the holiday season when we're thinking about new beginnings and all that.
Right. It's like those bottles. And we as people, we all have the power to change and grow and create something amazing.
I love that.
So as we wrap up our exploration of bottle crafts, I hope everyone feels inspired to give it a try. You might surprise yourself with what you can create.
Happy crafting, everyone.
Happy crafting.